The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and I hope you're having a great week. I apologize for missing you guys yesterday. I don't know if I need to keep apologizing for missing days. I feel like I should, because, man, I was really on a roll with podcasting Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. And honestly, my goal is to get back to that. It really is. Unfortunately, I have just had a bunch of other things, actually, including things related to this podcast and trying to set the stage to do more video and do more interviews and do more of all that stuff and take this thing to the next level, that it's made it slightly challenging doing the 5 day a week schedule. But I am gonna get back to that. That is the goal. There's definitely big goals with this. Anyway, I did a couple interesting things over the past few days. I started to poll the Deep Shallow Dive Instagram audience, which again is around 45,000 followers, but it's like a 45,000 strong. It's a very engaged audience there. And so even though I am in IG jail, which means my posts are not being shown broadly to non-followers, they are being shown continuously to the following base. And so I wanted to try and actually, I mean, I'm kind of going to ask the same thing to you guys, and you're welcome to reach out to me. I can run a poll on Spotify, but I don't think anybody even knows those polls exist. But I will actually in this episode, I'll put a poll in Spotify. So if you listen on Spotify, you'll be able to answer directly through your phone or wherever you listen to the podcast through Spotify. Otherwise, you know how to get a hold of me. Feel free to reach out and give me your thoughts. But, I'm really trying to understand directionally, where to take this podcast and where is it that I can really add value into what you guys need. And so, at first I was thinking, okay, I really need to become that almost your daily news source. And maybe I do need to become that. And if you only have 20 minutes a day to get caught up on what's going on in the world, then Deep Shallow Dive will be that resource for you. So like if you can't watch, I don't know, CNN, the Today Show, the morning news, whatever, I could play that role. And so, if that's what you want, let me know, because obviously, I mean, that's pretty easy. That's pretty like just figuring out what took place the day before or even that day and, reporting on that. Otherwise, I think I need to almost shift gears a little bit, not even shift gears, but in addition to obviously, maybe that's part of it. Maybe kind of these bigger picture topics, like, I know I still want to do an episode on South Africa and apartheid, and then World War I, World War II. Honestly, I think when I launched Deep Shallow Dive, the intent was to do more of that stuff. And so, now that there's so much chaos going on in the world, along with the fact that, we're going into an election, and like I've said before, it was March of 2020 when COVID happened, which really honestly started all of this for me. And that's the underlying premise of the book. And I'm going to start kind of talking a little bit more about the book because, man, we're getting closer to launching that thing. But because it was March of 2020 and there was an election that year and, the world went into a tailspin, which quite frankly, I don't think we've recovered from. And now it's April now of 2024, and we're going into an election. I mean, again, I just don't think it's going to be smooth sailing for the next 5 months and then a a no controversy election. I just don't. I can't really figure out yet what the actual play is. I know I've talked a little bit about, okay, is there going to be like a holy war between Christianity and the Muslims? I don't know, maybe. Is there going to be some type of bio warfare thing that's in the air, in the water, in something that causes absolute havoc and plays a role with the election? Maybe. I don't know. Is Biden gonna take ill and, there needs to be a replacement, and then who's that replacement going to be? Is it going to be Gavin Newsom? Michelle Obama already kind of took her name out of the ring, so I can't really see them jumping back in. I mean, she literally addressed the issue. I don't know. I mean, God, as we continue to get closer, I think that one's unlikely, actually. Plus, man, it's like, I don't know what Biden is doing. He must be taking Boost or something, because he's starting to like Benjamin Button a little, and he seems to be more cognizant than he was last year, and that was definitely witnessed in the State of the Union address. So, maybe he's got the gumption to make it through. Now, I can't imagine he has the gumption to stay 4 more years, but maybe that's not needed. Maybe they just need him to win the election again. I don't know. So there's that. But again, I do think I need to start bringing some of those bigger picture topics back, and maybe have a little blend of obviously staying current with all the current stuff. And then more importantly, maybe we start talking a little more just, I don't want to say the touchy-feely stuff, but like, stuff outside of politics. Maybe that's part of this too, in addition to obviously bringing on guests and doing all that. I really do think that is where I need to go next in terms of, bringing value, because, I say all this simply because I am very, very appreciative of you guys taking the time out of your days to listen. I think time is the most precious commodity there is right now. And so the fact that you take time to listen to Deep Shallow Dive, that means a tremendous amount to me. And so I want to make sure I'm delivering value. I want to make sure you're coming out of these, 20-minute sessions and your knowledge base has been increased. And whether that means having better discussions at home, whether that means having better discussions at work, whether that means being able to look at what's taking place in the world under a different lens and make a little more sense of it. So you're not just like, you're really not just a passive consumer anymore. You kind of have an understanding of some of the things that take place in the world. That's the goal. And I want to make sure I am delivering on that. That's really important to me, because, I'm not trying to just be a talking head up here. I'm really trying to deliver value, education, enlightenment, and just info for you guys, so you have a better handle and you can be a rock star at any parties you go to, because what's up. What's up in the world. So anyway, I am still trying to figure all that out. I'm very open to suggestions, and so if anybody has any, feel free to bring those my way. Alrighty, so now let's shift gears, and I'm going to do something that I hope you find pretty cool, because I think it will be cool. Let's see how it turns out. But Chat GPT, man, this AI stuff is really going to another level in a variety of ways. And again, I mean, that's good and bad. It's good for guys like me that are using it for good, but I do think there's going to be some nefarious stuff coming down the pipe with this. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about a new feature of Chat GPT it's either called voice active or voice conversation. But basically, if you have Chat GPT, especially on your mobile phone, because for some reason it's not on all the web browsers, there is a little headphones icon that's going to be at the bottom right of the chat box. And if you press that headphone, you can actually have a conversation with Chat GPT as opposed to either typing out your message or even, voice dictating your message, and then it spits it back to you in type. And this thing is really cool. So this is going to be funny. Let's see how this turns out. But I thought instead of doing all the research on explaining our number one and number two, going urine and going to the bathroom, instead of trying to explain that through, clips and segments, let's see if I can have a conversation with ChatGPT about that, and let's see if we can get some value. So what I'm going to do is I'm recording through my iPad, and then I'm having the conversation through my iPhone. So let's see how this works. Hey, ChatGPT, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm good. Hey, listen, I want to talk about something, and then if it's okay, I'm going to record it and then put it on my podcast. First of all, I'd love to introduce people to this feature where basically it's like you and I having a conversation, and I'm not really typing my questions, but I'm talking it. Is that okay?
Absolutely. That sounds like a great idea for your podcast. Feel free to share about our voice conversation feature. What would you like to discuss or know more about?
Well, this is part of my Deep Shallow Dive Health segment, and what I wanted to talk about was really trying to help people understand what their number one and number two means. Meaning that, like, when you go to the bathroom and you, for example, urinate, which a lot of people call number one, I want to help people understand what the color could mean and what the smell and odor of your urine could mean so they can basically have a handle on their health. So can you explain that in terms of the color of urine and then also what the smells could signify?
Absolutely. Discussing what urine color and smell can indicate about health is really insightful. Let's start with the color of urine. Now, about the smells, urine usually has a slight odor that's not too strong. However, if you notice a very strong, pungent smell, it might be a sign of dehydration or an indication of something in the diet. Certain foods like asparagus can cause a strong odor. However, a very unpleasant odor could also be a sign of an infection, like a urinary tract infection, UTI. If urine is consistently foamy or fizzy, it could indicate excess protein in the diet or a kidney problem. Always keep in mind, though, these are general guidelines. Any persistent changes or concerns should definitely be discussed with a healthcare provider. Is there a specific aspect of this you'd like to delve deeper into for your podcast?
Well, what about the color of urine? Like, what if it's like super dark yellow, or what if it has no color? Like, what's the right color that shows good health with urine?
The color of urine is a great indicator of hydration and overall health. The ideal urine color for good health is usually a pale straw or light yellow color. This indicates that you're well hydrated. If urine is clear or has no color, it often means that you're drinking a lot of water, possibly even overhydrating. While staying hydrated is important, too much water can dilute essential electrolytes in your body. On the other hand, if urine is consistently dark yellow, it usually suggests dehydration. The body is conserving water, so the urine becomes more concentrated. It's a sign to increase water intake. There are also other colors to be aware of. For example, orange urine can sometimes be caused by certain medications or foods, but it could also indicate a liver or bile duct condition. Red or pink urine could be from certain foods like beets, or it might signal blood in the urine, which requires medical attention. It's always key to listen to your body and seek medical advice if you notice unusual or persistent changes in urine color. Does that help clarify things for your segment?
Yeah, I think that's good on urine. So really, give us a quick summary. What should our urine look like, and then what should it smell like, as just a overall summary?
Certainly. Your urine should ideally be a pale straw or light yellow color, indicating proper hydration. If it's clear, you might be drinking a bit too much water, and if it's dark yellow, you likely need to drink more fluids. As for the smell, urine typically has a mild odor that's not very noticeable. A strong odor could be a sign of dehydration or might indicate something in your diet. However, if the urine has a persistent or very unpleasant smell, it could suggest a health issue like a urinary tract infection. So in summary, aim for light yellow urine and a mild, not too strong odor for good health. If you notice any persistent changes in color or smell, it's a good idea to consult with a healthcare provider.
Okay, that's great. Now let's move on to feces. I mean, a lot of people call it number 2 as a joke toward going poo-poo, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about going poo-poo, number 2, feces, whatever you want to call it. And can you explain to us, I guess the various ways your feces can look and then what that means?
Absolutely. Discussing feces is just as important for understanding health. The appearance of feces can vary greatly and can tell you a lot about your digestive health. Firstly, the color. Brown is the most common color for feces and is considered healthy. This color comes from bile, which is produced in the liver. If feces are green, it might mean that food is moving through the intestines too quickly, like with diarrhea, or it could be due to eating lots of green vegetables or foods with green coloring. Black or very dark feces could indicate bleeding in the upper gastrointestinal tract, while red could indicate bleeding in the lower tract, though it could also come from eating beets or red-colored food. The texture also matters. Normal feces should be soft and easy to pass, typically shaped like a sausage or snake. Hard and lumpy stools can indicate constipation, while watery or liquid stools suggest diarrhea. If stools are pencil thin, it might be wise to consult a doctor as it could indicate an obstruction or mass in the colon. Regarding smell, feces will never smell pleasant, but shouldn't be overwhelmingly bad. A particularly foul odor can be a sign of a gastrointestinal infection, or could result from a diet very high in meat or other proteins. It's important to monitor changes in your bowel movements and consult with a healthcare provider if you notice persistent changes in color, texture, or smell. Changes in bowel habits can provide valuable insights into your health. Do you have any specific aspect you'd like to explore further for your podcast?
Overall, how long, for example, if I have a steak, how long does it take for that steak to get through my system and I basically go to the bathroom?
The digestion time for different foods can vary quite a bit, but on average, it takes about 24 to 72 hours for a food to move through your digestive tract. Red meat, like steak, is generally more complex and takes longer for the body to break down compared to fruits, vegetables, or grains. When you eat steak, your stomach uses its acids and enzymes to break down the meat into a form that can be absorbed and utilized by your body. The protein and fat in steak take longer to digest compared to other nutrients. After your stomach breaks down the steak, it moves to the small intestine, where further digestion and nutrient absorption occur. Then what remains moves to the large intestine. In the large intestine, water is absorbed and the waste is eventually expelled. Since meat is dense and can be harder to break down, it might take closer to the 72-hour mark for it to fully pass through your system. However, this can vary based on your overall digestive health, metabolism, and diet. So if you eat a steak, it could be in your system for 2 to 3 days, undergoing various processes until it's finally excreted as waste. It's fascinating how our bodies process what we eat, isn't it?
Yeah, it totally is. It totally is. Okay, so in summary, when it comes to feces, then really just give us a summary of what healthy feces looks like and then what healthy feces should smell like so people can start looking in the toilet every time they go to the bathroom, which I do that. I know that's crazy, but I do.
Absolutely. It's a good practice to be observant. Healthy feces typically are medium to light brown, have a soft and smooth consistency, and are relatively easy to pass. The shape can be like a sausage or snake, not too lumpy or liquid. As for the smell, while feces will naturally have an unpleasant odor, healthy stools shouldn't be excessively foul-smelling. A super offensive odor could indicate a dietary issue or a problem in the digestive tract. Checking your feces is actually a smart way to keep tabs on your health. Changes in your stool can be one of the first signs of a health issue, so it's good to notice what's normal for you and what's not. If you see persistent changes in color, texture, or smell, it's wise to consult a healthcare professional. This kind of awareness can be really beneficial for your health.
That's awesome, Chat GPT. Seriously, I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the Deep Shallow Dive podcast. That was super cool of you. I'll probably make a ton of money off this episode. And if it's okay, I'm not going to share any of that money with you. Is that cool?
I'm just glad I could help, and it's totally fine about the money. I'm here to assist and share information. So I'm happy to hear you found our conversation valuable for your podcast. If you ever have more questions or need insights for future episodes, feel free to reach out. Best of luck with your podcast, and I hope your audience finds the episode as engaging as we did.
All right, you're awesome. My man. By the way, I was just totally kidding on the money thing. That was a joke.
No worries, I got the joke. I'm glad you're having a good time with this. If you ever want to chat or need more information for another episode or anything else, I'm here to help. Keep enjoying the podcasting.
My man.
You got it.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. Holy mackerel. I honestly didn't quite know what to expect, but I felt like I could talk to that guy for hours. That was funny, actually. That was really funny, and that was really well done. I found it incredibly interesting how he even was so conversational that, you know, they've programmed or developed the AI to, like, you know, he said a couple times, and, you know, obviously I made the money joke, and, you know, he didn't realize it was a joke, but then when I told him it was a joke, he reacted properly to that. That was pretty interesting. And hopefully informative in terms of our bathroom habits. Anyway, I had been wanting to do the bathroom episode for a while, so hopefully that was a creative and informative way to accomplish that also wasn't like crazy disgusting. So hopefully we did it. Anyway, that was interesting. Man, I might have to bring Chat GPT back on a couple other things. I actually enjoyed that. That was funny. All right, everybody, that is it. And some more stuff coming later this week. Call a spade, and I wish you the best. I truly do, especially when it comes to your health.
The ending was terrific.
This episode is being brought to you by the upcoming book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You. That's right, Bro wrote a book, and it's coming soon. Stay tuned.